What's up, everybody? It's Aaron Ray back with Franchise Tag Fantasy Football Podcast. Welcome back to the mock mini series that we are going to be doing throughout the season. They will not be like regular episodes. This is literally just mock drafts where we try different strategies, take different players to kind of give you guys an idea of what might happen with a certain strategy or if you take a certain player in a certain spot. And it also helps you guys throughout the offseason kind of see where average draft positions are for certain players. For sure, in your offseason, you want to mock draft as much as possible to kind of get a feel for what's going to go where, just in case things don't go to plan for your mock draft for your leagues. So what's going on, Ray?
Nothing much, man. I love doing mock drafts. I really do. They're so much fun.
As soon as the season ends, I start doing mock drafts. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, to echo your sentiment, though. For real. If you want to advance yourself in your league and start dominating your friends and whatnot, mock drafting now, perfect time. So without anything else to say, I'd rather just get started.
All right, so I'm just going to draft normally as if the draft were just to fall to me. I'm not doing any specific strategy. The last miniseries episode, I did a 0 RB strategy. This week, I'm not doing any different strategy. Ray, what kind of strategy are you running this week?
I'll be doing a running back-heavy draft strategy here.
All right, so an RB heavy draft strategy. I'm just going to take the draft as it comes to me. As always, we're doing 12-team half-point PPR. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much the standard scoring format for most people nowadays. We're just doing 13 rounds. We're not going to be doing kickers or defense. We're doing a defense. We're not doing kickers.
Okay.
1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, a flex, a defense, and 5 bench spots. 6 bench spots, excuse me. 5 bench spots. Can't do my math. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get it started. I'm seeing that a lot lately. Derrick Henry going first.
I know.
This is for redraft, by the way, not anything special.
I again have to go Dalvin Cook because he fell to me, and I don't know how it keeps happening.
I would agree with you on that.
I don't have anything else to say. Dalvin Cook in the 3 hole is pretty good.
So Saquon next, Nick Chubb next, Alvin Kamara next. I am up here, so I'm in a position, right? I'm in a position of, do I take Devontae Adams, who to sleeper is the next best available off the board? Do I run the gamble with Jonathan Taylor? Do I run it with Ezekiel Elliott? I know last episode I was talking about I'd probably take Zeke over Jonathan Taylor, but I want to see what happens on this comeback to me. I want to see what type of running backs will be back here for me. I'm not going to go ahead and waste the pick because it is only half point on Devontae. Not waste the pick, but I'm not going to take that pick. I'm going to get myself a running back that I feel capable, and Ezekiel Elliott went right next. So, Devontae, Tyreek, DeAndre Hopkins, Aaron Jones, Travis Kelce starts off the second round. DK, Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, Austin Eckler. I'm in a position here now. I can go back-to-back running backs and take the Cam Akers or the Antonio Gibson, the Joe Mixons. There might be value better on down the road. I could lock up and go ahead and get the number 1 wide receiver for my team. I'm going to act like I don't know your draft strategy because obviously if I knew it, I would try to block you on the running backs here to get my stuff. I'm going to take the gamble. Not really. I'm just lying. I have Calvin Ridley higher than Justin Jefferson. I'm going to take Calvin Ridley.
So after you took Calvin Ridley, Justin Jefferson went, then Cam Akers, Joe Mixon, and now I'm on the clock. I feel like it's the same team I just drafted.
It might be.
I can't pass up on Antonio Gibson here.
Nope. I don't think you can either, but
I can't.
I mean, you could.
I have to take Antonio Gibson. So, George Kittle, Patrick Mahomes, Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, and then I'm back on the clock again. And this is where I'm in that situation where we've been talking about where you're really going to have to stamp your flag on somebody. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm leaning towards, and Ruben almost sold me on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But
I'm putting my mouse, hovering it over because they can see the screen. I'm hovering over who I think you're going to pick.
It's going to be Najee Harris.
It is. That's who I had my mouse going crazy over. The Julio going at 3.5. It seems like it's a little big, but it's not. I really wish. This is where I'm getting in a pickle, right? Do I take a solid wide receiver 2 for my team, but a wide receiver 1 on their team and finish as a wide receiver 1? Or do I have to drop down and take someone like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who Ruben kind of did sell me on just a little bit? Or do I wait and roll the dice? As far as wide receivers, I feel like there's a lot more depth at wide receiver as far as that goes. Tight ends, I don't think the next tight end that I want comes back to me, but I don't know. I'm not. We'll see how it plays out. I'm going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This is where you do what you need to do to experiment to see how drafts play out. This is where you can afford to take someone you wouldn't normally take to see how it happens. Allen Robinson went next, who I was on the fence about. Terry McLaurin, Darren Waller, J.K. Dobbins, Chris Carson, David Montgomery, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, the back-to-backs like we were talking about before. Robert Woods, Myles Gaskins, and now it's back up to me. So right here, I'm going to take who I want to take right now. I was looking at Josh Jacobs right there. I don't think I'm going to take Josh Jacobs. I am going to go ahead and take Amari Cooper, the number 1 for his team. I do think that is 2 very good wide receivers for me, and 1 good running back, 1 decent running back. Then DJ Moore went, CeeDee Lamb, 1 spot behind DJ Moore, so 2 spots away from Amari Cooper. Josh Jacobs went, and now you're on the clock, Ray.
So with what's still on the board, I'm looking at it right now. This is the part where you might want to peel off of a strategy, because I would like to have 1 more running back with this heavy running back strategy. But I think who I want to draft here will fall back to me in the next round.
Okay.
So I'm going to take a gamble. I'm not going to go get Kenny Galladay, I'll tell you that. I'm going to go ahead and grab Cooper Kupp again. I swear this is the same roster I had last time.
Mm-hmm.
It really does feel like that. I'm going to take Cooper Kupp because I want a piece of that LA offense. I think that Cooper Kupp has the opportunity to be a steal in this part of the draft.
Yeah. In the 4th round? Yeah, that's a pretty good pick. Kenny Galladay, Deontay Johnson, Kareem Hunt. Chase Edmonds, and now we're back to you. So do you take a second wide receiver here? Do you take another running back? What are you doing?
I think I'm going to take a second receiver here and hope that who I want might fall back to me again. But you know what? That's not how we're supposed to be doing this. And that's not my strategy. I'm trying to show you guys what I would do. This is where I don't think that he would fall back to me. So I'm talking about Travis Etienne. I do not think that he will fall back to me. So I will be taking him here. No, I will be taking him here. I think that's too high for him, but I will be taking him.
I could see that. So Mark Andrews went 1 pick before me for the tight end. I was going to kind of lean tight end there, but I'm going to run a gamble, and I'm going to let it continue to slip through. He was the last of the big 4 that I would be willing to take just because he gets so much of the small pie. So I have Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper. At running backs, there's not really, I think running backs that I would want would be able to come back to me. I do have 2 very solid running backs. So I think for me personally, I'm going to go ahead and take the gamble of who I think, and they think obviously is the next best available, but who I do think is going to put up good points this year. And I'm going to take Tyler Lockett. He has up and downs throughout the season, but I have 2 very good, consistent wide receivers already ahead of him that I can take that gamble. 4 quarterbacks in the 5th round right there. So after me went TJ Hawkinson, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Melvin Gordon, Dak Prescott went at the end of the 5th. T. Higgins, it's weird to me that he went where he did, because that is before Jamar Chase, which I don't think that happens in real life, real drafts.
Tyler Boyd.
You think that Tyler Boyd goes above both of them?
Yes. No. Jamar Chase will go, then Tyler Boyd, then T. Higgins.
Think so?
Yes, that's how it
We'll
should
see.
be. That's how I would do it.
That's how you have it ranked?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm back on the clock here. There's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks off the board. I think. How many quarterbacks are left? I think there's some quarterback value left there still. I'm gonna try to keep a balanced team here. So we've talked about it before. As of right now, at this point in time, going into the season, I'm gonna take another starting running back in Mike Davis.
Okay. So I was hoping that just to kind of cap off, because right here would have been the last point where I think I could have got a running back that would have been viable. Outside of Mike Davis, I don't think I could have got somebody. Travis Etienne would not have fallen back to me. No way. Ronald Jones is still there. I don't really want Ronald Jones. He has no place in that on my roster for that. So, that being said, I think now I'm going to be rolling with Cortland Sutton.
Think so, huh?
Yep. I don't think he'd make it back to me.
Not a bad pick.
So then after Cortland Sutton, DJ Chark went, Will Fuller, Chase Claypool around the turn, Aaron Rodgers, and now I'm back on the clock. So
Sure.
I am hurting for receiver pretty bad at this point because I did take a lot of running backs early. Relying on Cooper Kupp to be my solid number one, I think he's really going to be a receiver two, but a high-end receiver two. Same with Cortland Sutton, probably a mid-tier receiver two. I really want to start taking a look at other positions that I might be able to fill at this point. Noah Fant, Logan Thomas, Kyle Pitts are still on the board for tight end. I don't particularly care to draft them right here. Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and Tom Brady are here at quarterback. I think saying it out loud and how I'm looking at it, I kind of like Justin Sherbet to be on the roster. So I'm going to roll with Justin Sherbet.
All right, Juju Smith-Schuster, Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts went next. I'm on the clock right now. I have a pretty good balance as far as my team goes, but I'm still looking at certain people. I think at this point in time, I have a pretty good, stable, steady roster. I don't want to take a tight end here because, like we talked about, the difference between the tight end 5 to the tight end 1 is extraordinarily big. And the distance between the tight end 5 and the tight end 10 is not as big as you think. So I'm going to do something a little crazy here. It might be what some people would consider a reach, but I'm going to take Jamar Chase.
I don't mind that at all, actually, to be honest. I can't see the whole screen on mine, so I don't know.
Tom Brady goes next. Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, Noah Fant, Brandon Cooks, James Conner, Joe Burrow. Robbie Anderson at the 8-3, Kenyon Drake, Curtis Samuel at the 8-5. So this is me. I don't think that he'll end up making it back to me at this point in time, knowing the person that I'm drafting against, a.k.a. being Ray. And I'm going to take Kyle Pitts, another rookie. I'm going to take back-to-back rookies, but Kyle Pitts in the 8th with the potential to end up as a top 5 tight end. I think that works out pretty well for me.
All right, so after you, Zach Moss, then Jamal Williams went at 8-8. That's Javonte Williams. Sorry, I was like Jamal Williams with that high, crazy. Javonte Williams, Deebo Samuel, and then I'm back on the clock here. So it sucks that Deebo went right there. It really does. I would have really liked to get Deebo in that situation. But
I was between him and Jamar Chase, but
I don't have a whole lot of receivers to really look at right now, to be honest with you here. Tyler Boyd, Robert Tonyan, but he's a tight end. Weird that they put him as a receiver. He's not. Jarvis Landry, Jerry Jeudy, Corey Davis. See, Jerry Jeudy would have been really good value here. Something to think about later. Devontae Parker, Laviska Shenault, Devontae Smith. I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't like any of these guys that I'd really like to put on a roster. So maybe I'm going to go take a look at tight end, see what's going on over here. Maybe I should draft a tight end, but I don't know if I believe in Robert Tonyan that much. He's the only guy that I'm really looking at. Maybe Logan Thomas, but I don't really want to have Logan Thomas and Antonio Gibson.
Bless you.
So maybe I'll just have to take a receiver that not necessarily high on, that high, but I'll take Jarvis Landry.
Okay. Tony went next. Tyler Boyd, AJ Dillon, Jared Judy. Back to you, Ray.
Tanyan going there really hurt, and AJ Dillon going there really hurt. That didn't help at all. So, that being said, there's not a whole lot that I'd like to take here. I'm going to take my shot on Laviska Shenault, even though I already have Travis Etienne. I'm going to take my shot on Laviska Shenault.
Okay. Devin Singletary, Logan Thomas, Tony Pollard, like you were talking about in the NFC East breakdown, I think, or the last running back show, whatever one you were talking about him on. So now I'm on the clock. What positions do I need? I need a quarterback, and I'm going to wait on the defense. It's the 9th round, so I'm going to check quarterbacks. There's 2 quarterbacks left that I want. Every team except for me has a quarterback. I don't expect anyone to take 2 quarterbacks. Obviously, mock drafting people sometimes do things that you don't want them to do. If you take 2 quarterbacks just to spite me, Ray, I will reach through the computer screen. Just kidding. So at this point in time, kind of taking your shots on my guys, your flyers, stuff like that. So what do I have here? I've got decent wide receivers. Who's left at wide receiver? Corey Davis, Marcus Brown. I don't really see any wide receivers that I really want right now. I think I can get them a little later. As far as running backs go, you can really take your shot on whoever you want right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and I haven't drafted him at all this year. I think he's going to be a good value. I'm going to take Gus Edwards. I think he will get some play and some work. Then Corey Davis goes next. Naeem Hines, Mike Gesicki, Devontae Smith. Look at that. Both quarterbacks that I wanted went back-to-back 9 and 10, or to teams 9 and 10. So now the gamble that I took, it did not pay off. I do not have a good look at quarterback anymore. That really sucks. Whatever. It is what it is, right? I'm going to go ahead and take Gus Edwards. It is getting a little thin. I haven't done it yet this year. I'm going to take Trey Sermon.
Okay. I'm at that goal.
And then it's to you.
Michael Gallup went after Trey Sermon, Latavius Murray, Tyler Higbee, and then I'm back on the clock.
Your microphone is switched. It sounds like you're echoing.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. So, all these technical difficulties. After Trey Sermon, Michael Gallup went Latavius Murray, Tyler Higbee, and now I'm back on the clock. And boy, did it get worse.
It does. It gets worse quick.
Did it get worse? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just punt the rest of my draft. No, I'm not going to do that. But I will take a shot on Michael Carter here. So I don't think he's going to fall back to me.
Why are people taking 2 quarterbacks? So this has really screwed me over now with teams taking 2 quarterbacks. If you ever
Michael Carter would have for sure went.
If you ever take onesie-twosie positions, like I'm talking tight ends and quarterbacks, you're in the wrong because you're wasting so much value. Guess what? He can only start 1 quarterback.
Well,
these teams can only start 1 quarterback.
Matt Ryan went, then Darrell Henderson, Phillip Lindsay, and Jamal Williams, making that Michael Carter pick look that much better because I don't think in any way he fell back to me. Finally, one broke my way. So, I have a tight end position in need. Hunter Henry and John Smith are on the board. No thanks. Rob Gronkowski on the board. No thanks. is it gonna? Do I really have to take Evan Ingram? Do I have to do it?
You can take Austin Hooper if you want. You can take Cole Kmet. You can take Zach Ertz. You can take whoever you want. You don't have to take anybody.
I'm gonna take Evan Ingram. He's the best out of the ones.
Hunter Henry went, Marvin Jones went, Jonnu Smith went. I'm on the board. I can't afford to lose another quarterback to a team that takes 2 quarterbacks, so I have to take a quarterback here. And unfortunately, I'm taking Kirk Cousins strictly because of the Justin Jefferson Adam Thielen combo that he has, and he dumps it off to Dalvin Cook, so he does have pass catching weapons there. So I think he'll be a viable, decent quarterback. But I lost value. I wanted Stafford or Tannehill to come back, but they didn't. Gronk went, Antonio Brown went, who was going to be my late round target right here in these rounds. Jalen Waddle, Mike Williams, Alexander Madison, Michael Pittman Jr., Austin Hooper, Rashad Penny, who had, mind you, minor knee surgery this past week in the offseason. It's not looking good for him. Blake Jarwin, then Jamison Crowder, who also would have been another late round wide receiver target for me. I do want to look at more wide receiver targets here in the late rounds to kind of bolster my wide receiver core per se, considering I only have 4 of them and one of them's a rookie who we don't know how it's going to pan out. But as you can see, it gets really thin here really quick. So I'm going to take tried and true known, hopefully Carson Wentz will revive him, T.Y. Hilton in the 12th round. Just as a depth add.
All right, so do we have to draft a defense and kicker?
Just a defense, not a kicker.
Okay. So it's my last real flyer pick that I have a lot of running backs that I can use and interchangeably put in, I guess.
That's fair.
I do also have a decent amount of receivers that I'm not necessarily super pumped on, but nonetheless, still have a bunch of receivers. So let me go take a look through the receivers. This is where you want to call your shot on somebody if this is the last pick of the draft. No one really jumping out at me that I could think of that I'd really want to take a shot on. I mean, man, nobody's left. Oof. Where did this draft go? I guess I'll take Henry Ruggs.
Okay. All right.
See what happens there.
I'll take Henry Ruggs. Steelers, Raiders. Why are you taking Ruggs strictly for the flyer?
Yeah, just because he's a flyer. He's the last guy that I can take, and I mean, I could do worse, you know?
Good. That's very true.
Especially in a 12-man. Surprised that he made it this far, honestly. Then I'm just going to take Tampa Bay's defense, because why not?
That's who I was exactly looking at. The football team came back. You know, defenses, they're pretty interchangeable, honestly. I'll probably end up taking the Niners defense because they're pretty good all the time. And that wraps up the draft right there. So, Ray, you want to read your roster off?
Sure. So, let's go back to the top here. I started out the draft in the 3-hole, grabbing Dalvin Cook, then Antonio Gibson, Najee Harris, to round out my 3-headed monster at running back. Then I got Cooper Kupp and Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne was a pick because I did not think he would come back to me. Looking at who went off the board, I doubt that he would have. Cortland Sutton, Justin Herbert, Jarvis Landry. My receiving core is very weak, I would like to add, because of the fact that I have to rely on Jarvis Landry. Laviska Shenault for a flyer, late round flyer, but flyer nonetheless. Michael Carter, again, which would not have probably fallen to me looking at how the draft fell. Evan Ingram at tight end, strictly because he was probably the best left on the board. And Henry Ruggs as my last round flyer, rounding it out with Tampa Bay's defense. I cannot talk today.
It's all good. So I came in the 7th hole with no particular draft strategy, just kind of drafted as it came to me. I started out with Jonathan Taylor, then Calvin Ridley, then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, then Amari Cooper, keeping it pretty balanced through the first 4 rounds. Then I went Tyler Lockett in the 5th round, which I think is a pretty solid pick there. Then Mike Davis, who, as we've talked about plenty of times before, is, as of right now, a starting running back in the NFL. Then I took 2 back-to-back rookie flyers with Jamar Chase, who I think will be decent. And with my wide receiver core as it is already, I could afford to take him there. Kyle Pitts, who after him, the tight end position is pretty much punted. And I feel like in the 8th round, that's a good return on value for the tight end. I took Gus Edwards as a filler in the running back position because you never really know what's going to happen. And he's been over 700 yards rushing every year that he's been in NFL, so he might be a plug-and-play start. Trey Sermon could take over the backfield if Raheem Mostert happened to get hurt in San Francisco, so that's kind of why I took that. I really, really wanted in the 10th round right here, Matt Stafford or Ryan Tannehill to come back to me, and that's when I said it. But teams 9 and 10 both took 2 quarterbacks, and I hit on it in the draft. They can only start one of them, so taking the onesies positions and putting 2 people on your roster, you're just clogging up a roster spot. I really wanted Matt Stafford or Ryan Tannehill to fall here, but they didn't. So then I took Kirk Cousins in the 11th to fill that up. I took my flyer on T.Y. Hilton in the 12th round as another wide receiver to kind of give me a little bit more depth at the wide receiver position, keeping an overall pretty balanced team. And hopefully Carson Wentz would be able to, revitalize T.Y. Hilton's career, even though he's on the back end of it. And I took the Niners defense. So I do want to touch on, Ray. As you can see, Team 9, you went heavy RB strategy, and Team 9 went basically a 0 running back strategy. I want to say never draft to trade, but for you having a decent heavy running back strategy, I think you could possibly couple a trade value or trade target for maybe a 2-player for a 1-player swap on your team for someone on Team 9, if that makes sense, to give you a better wide receiver too.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that that's probably what I would do because going into the season with a Courtland Sutton coming off of an injury, pretty risky saying that he's going to be my receiver too. Cooper Kupp is safe. Jarvis Landry could be safe depending on what Odell is.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then Laviska Shenault is definitely more of a flyer than anything else.
That's fair too. And Team 1 did it, and I recommend paying attention to this. They took Deontay Johnson in the 4th and Chase Claypool in the 7th. That's 2 wide receivers from the same team. Normally, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, I would probably stay away from that as well.
All right, but that is the draft. Ray with the heavy running back strategy, myself with no particular draft strategy. Guys, Sleeper Bot is awesome. It's an app for your phone. You can literally Google Sleeper as well. It's great to get mock drafts in. You put your league on there. They're not a sponsor. It'd be cool if they were. It'd be cool if we had sponsors, but we're just getting started. Got anything else, Ray?
No, that's it.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, we'll see you later.